Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Are Worthy Network. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jacqueline Charles. We want to bring another phenomenal interview today. So we're going to have a conversation because right now we need to own our day, right? We need to be productive. We need to be motivational. We need all those things because, baby, when I tell you my nerves be shot sometimes because of what happens during the day, and then when you listen to the news or someone's always calling you with negativity, 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 you have to sometimes, you can't find your coach, you can't find that friend, you have to self-motivate. So we're ready to embark on a transformative voyage as we chat with the beloved Dr. Beloved, you get it? The beloved Dr. Beloved Dillard. We'll dive into intricacies of spirituality and explores key ways of owning our day. I'm telling y'all, we need this. It's not every day that we have the privilege of hosting and having a wonderful guest as influential and enlightened, and someone who's enlightened like Dr. Dillard. So without further ado, Dr. Dillard, I want you to know she's a motivational speaker. She's prophetic. She's also a spiritual leader. So I'm telling y'all, one and all, this is the show that you got to watch right now because there's so much going on. People are, families are being broken up, so much is going on. So without further ado, let me go on and introduce. Hey, Dr. Dillard, how you doing?
I'm blessed. I'm great. I'm thankful. I am excited about this opportunity to be on with you and to share with you and inform, enlighten, empower, inspire, and be present in the moment
Yes. Can
for
you
what
turn your
we're
mic
trying
up
to
just a little? Turn your mic up just a little.
turn my mic just up a little.
Yes, ma'am. Because we don't want you having to repeat. We want them to write down those nuggets that you have. Okay.
Can you hear me now? Are we
Yes,
good
much
now?
better.
Very good. Very good. I
So
totally understand.
thank you again for joining us because we know you're totally busy. And thank you for taking the time and the energy to be in our space to educate our platform. So let's get right into it. Why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Wow. Why I do what I do because I think it's imperative that each one teach one. It's imperative. It's Sankofa that we reach back and bring forward from the knowledge, from our life experience, from our academic experience. I don't want to see people, especially children and women, experience what I experienced.
Right.
What I experienced as a young person, the abuse, the neglect, as a woman, being in relationship with unhealthy men, unhealthy sisters. And so there's a way to fix that. We just have to address it. We can yeah, go
No, no,
ahead.
no. Say no, no. Okay, let me tell you this right now. Let's set the ground rules right now. Okay, this is not my show. This is your show. I'm just facilitating and asking the
Okay,
questions. Okay, so what
very
you
good.
say goes. Okay, when you feel like you need to stop, you stop. Okay.
Very good.
Um, that's what I share with you because sometimes when you live in a toxic or you were raised in a toxic environment
Yes,
at one point or another, you think it's healthy, right? And then
right.
when you start to see good, you like shun away from it. It's almost like when the girl meets a good guy, she don't want that. She want the thug. She want the thug love, right? So if you share to embark on telling us a little bit about, because I want people to understand and to connect with you. When you said the abuse, what did you go? And here's the thing about YouTube. And it may not occur to you, anything sexual or anything with the R word, we have to use the R word. We can't say the word that. And if someone is unalive by something that they did, we have to use the word unalive because
Got
if not, YouTube won't put it out there. So, okay, begin.
so the abuse began from a child. 2.5 years old all the way up until I was 9 or 11 years old. That's where my sexual abuse. I don't know if we're able to use that word or that terminology. That's when that commenced, and so I grew up insatiated. Um, in terms of sexuality and sex and vulgarity and pornography and all of these things, that was a part of my normalcy from 2.5 up until 9, like I said, 9, 11 years old. And it was a journey that exposed me, predisposed me to things, of course, socially, mentally, emotionally, that I was not prepared for, because no child should be exposed to that type of behavior. Sex in and of itself is not a negative thing, it's a beautiful thing. In fact, it was a gift that God gave to married people, right? To share, to procreate, to comfort, to provide support. If we look at the biblical text, many times when death occurred with the patriarchs, that's what they did. The Bible says, and they went into their wives and they found comfort, they found solace. But in my case, I was predisposed as a toddler to this type of behavior that was unhealthy, ungodly, uh, and it took my life on a trajectory that I had to unravel and even reimagine. I like to say that when I'm doing my spiritual coaching, the reimagining of who I was as a human being, as a young girl, as a young woman, and how I lived out my life as a result of that experience.
Have you, before you decided to change, right? When you saw it wasn't right, were there certain triggers that would happen that would trigger everything all over again? Or were you continuously living that, going down that level, the promiscuity and things like that?
Of course, I've experienced promiscuity. Of course, I experienced pornography. That was what I knew. There were no set boundaries in my household. I didn't grow up in a godly household. Of course, we understood adults were adults and children were children, but the gray area and the ambiguity areas that kind of spilled over into each other didn't provide for me. It was a contradiction. Let me say, it was a life of contradiction, because on one hand, I'm required to be obedient, to be childlike, not to tell lies, right? To uphold standards, but that's not what I'm living out in my home experience. That's not what and so it's a dualism that I'm living out. And in public, I'm living one way, and at home, I'm living another way. And it's hard for adults to facilitate that. Can you imagine the mind of a child trying to facilitate that and what that looks like? So as a result, I had a lot of illnesses as a child. I began having bleeding ulcers as a child because of my abuse. I had an STD acquired from my stepfather. I had bad teeth. I had a lisp. I spoke like that up until I was like fifth or sixth grade, until I sought out personally a speech pathologist. So a lot of care that I was given, I initiated.
You know what people don't understand, and I want them to understand this. You may lock something away in your memory, you may suppress it, but the mind and the body, especially the body, will manifest things,
Absolutely.
right? Because, and I'm telling you, because I felt that way when I had locked some things away in my body, and I'm like, why am I getting panic attacks? What is this happening? And then when I go to my therapist, she unleashed, or she opened Pandora's box for me to
Absolutely.
realize what was going on. And then I had to be strong enough to handle what was coming, right? So if someone's watching, because what I've noticed, especially in the African American community, we have this thing growing up where what happens in this house stays in this house, right? Don't tell anybody what happens inside this house. So some women are out there walking around being, being touched, being abused in many different forms. Some are out there who had abortions. So there's so many women out there that have these secrets. And, I wrote a blog on my page, and my website is jacquelincharles.com. And I'm talking about the hidden secrets, what family does to you, and you're hiding the shame, and you need to get rid of that shame by speaking to someone. So, did you have anyone as a child that you could speak to? Like, did your stepfather tell you, may or may not, don't tell anyone because I'll harm your mother? Or you
Of
just knew
course.
not to say anything?
That's the running tagline. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mom. I'm going to kill your real father. Um, as a child, I would share with my friends, but you got to understand we're all children together. They're my peers. They're not my elders. And so that's why my book, Out of My Soul, when the parents are the predators, there's no place to hide. If you're in a community and everyone is dealing with toxicity, everyone is dealing with domestic violence, and it's normalized, right? So then who do you turn to? You know, who is the go-to person? And then in the Black community, especially during that era, everything is a secret. We know what's going on. We know who's the bad guy. We know who the monster is. We know who the alcoholic is. We know who the baby daddies are, but we just don't discuss it. And so that's when that internalizing goes on. I had excessive nosebleeds. My nose would just bleed out of nowhere, and it would go on for hours and hours. I would have blackouts. And so everything, like you were saying, it was contained in community, more so in the home. And we were always dressed nicely. We were always clean, always well spoken. And so no, that can't be happening to them. That's not going on, but it's happening everywhere, because 1 in 3 is happening. We've been on the phone, we've been on this call, this interview for 11 minutes, right? Every 9 seconds in 2023, a child, a person has been sexually assaulted or sexually abused. Every 9 seconds.
You know, that's alarming and disturbing, because I did my research as well. And it's really disturbing how still to this day, there's still that secrecy. It's still normalized, and we need to stop normalizing it. And I think too, what happens is, as a child, you don't want to break up the family. Then you have some people in your ear like, do you know what you're doing? Then you have some who don't want to believe what you're saying, right? And you're like, as a child, you have to figure out, even as a young adult, what to do with it. So when did you realize enough is daggone enough?
Wow. This was a turning point in my life. I can remember we were 9 years old. We moved from our old building because it was being torn down because some work was going on in the city and they needed to create another roadway. And we moved to another side of the town, a nicer neighborhood. It was an all white community. And I remember I said, I've got to find a way to tell my mother. I've tried to convey this message. Unbeknownst to me, she always knew that he was abusing us. Always knew. He was a very violent man. I mean, there were so many things that he did to us. And before I get to that part, like on a Sunday afternoon, we're in the room playing. This man
Now
will come in.
remember the words, and be careful because of YouTube. We want everyone to hear
Right,
it, but YouTube
right.
is
And so
okay.
we're in the room playing, and he comes in, and he has a book of matches. And he starts dropping matches, lit matches, and throwing them at us, telling us that he's going to set us on fire. This is what our Sunday afternoons were like. We're little girls. So now let's get back to the point. And my mother and him would get into a physical altercation, but she didn't leave. So what's the point? What is the point of making a ruckus if you're not going to do anything about it? You know, you're like James Brown said, you're talking loud and saying nothing. It's just, you have normalized abuse to the degree that you know someone is violating your children, but that's not enough for you. Right. That's where that brokenness, that brokenness supersedes what's right or what is righteous. So we've moved to the other side of town. There's only one television in the home. I'm in the bedroom. I'm only one at the house with my mom at this time, and I make a decision that I'm going to get him. I'm going to set this up. The scenario is going to work, and afterwards, we're going to get the desired results. He comes in. He's a pedophile. Pedophiles, their mind works differently. They don't work. They always think they're going to get away with it. That's just the way they think. Predators think that way. I'm sitting there. He comes in. He grabs my breast, and I jump up and I run and I tell my mom, who's in the kitchen cooking, so-and-so, he's touched me. What are you going to do about it? And her response is, I'm so tired of this SHIT, and I'm astonished because now it's allowed. It's exposed. Yeah. You know what he is, and you know what he's doing. And now you're confessing it to me. They get into a verbal altercation. Divorce is discussed. That never happens. And she comes back to me in that moment. I said, so when are we leaving? She's like, go upstairs. and life goes on. And it was at that point that my mother and my relationship with my mom completely changed. I knew that she was no longer worthy of my trust. I no longer confided in her. I stopped kissing her goodnight. I understood that this is not someone who is for me. This is someone who is creating a virtual existence, someone who is very much aware of abuse, someone who is not willing to defend her children. And so there are a lot of mothers. So let's speak to the audience. There are a lot of women who stay in abusive, toxic relationships with the mindset of, I got over it, you'll get over it too. But you didn't get over it. How do I know? Because now your generation is acting out the same behavior. You're passing on the same traits to your children. They do not have the mindset, the social education, the spiritual adequacy to evolve out of generational curses. So, what did I do? I decided I'm going to live a different life. And part of my different life choices was a relationship with Christ. No one in my family were believers. We did not go to church. I was not even, though they supported me to a degree, they did not support me coming home, talking about my spiritual experience, talking about what is going on in my life. And so at some point, all of us have to learn the lesson. I have a mantra: get the lesson or the lesson will get you. At some point, you are going to have to take ownership of your situation and determine, do I want to live like this? Am I going to allow my children to live like this? I want to speak to that woman who finds it absolutely necessary for you to be in relationship with someone who is unhealthy. If they're unhealthy with you, how are they going to be with your children? And you're leaving your children with a man or even a woman, because women abuse children as well, that you're not even feeling safe with. But you feel somehow they're going to be kind and loving towards your children, and you open up a Pandora's box on innocent people. I have to say that because sometimes children are not viewed as people, as valuable, as human beings. Too many times parents look at their children as if they own them.
True.
And they belong to God. They're loaned to you. You are to steward them. Many times I've asked the question, and I feel this energy of how people hate God. Oh, I hate God. God allowed this, that. No, 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 no. In my book, I talk about stewardship and hiding your seed. There's a chapter in my book, Out of My Soul, which is available on my website, beloveddillard.com, that God gives you steward over whatever you own. You are the stewards over what God has given you, right? So my parents did not value what God gave them. My parents did not value themselves enough to seek relationship with God. And they certainly did not value me enough to look at the blueprint of what God is saying, or how you're supposed to raise children, and how children are to be loved and cultivated and nurtured and protected. Children, if I don't say anything else, children deserve our protection.
True, they're innocent. They didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be
No.
born here, so they should be protected. And you see it in the wild how the animals, the leopards, the tigers, how they protect their babies, right?
Absolutely.
So, have you forgiven your mom?
Oh, absolutely. I forgave her a long time ago, but I will say this: forgiveness is a process. Because as you said earlier, we're talking about triggers. And so a lot of times people who have been severely abused, there are parts of their lives that they don't even remember. They have suppressed it in order to survive. So their
Yes.
pain is compartmentalized so that they can live out in the world and do normal things, go to work, go to school, have relationships, right? Raise their children. So as things come up, I'm like, okay, check, that box is checked. Yep, dealt with that. Yep, I'm dealt with that. So let me just be very clear. It was my stepfather who sexually abused me, not
Mhm,
my natural father.
mhm,
Not my
mhm.
natural father. And as far as I know, that my natural father did not have enough information to confront my stepfather, because had he did, my stepfather would, it would have
There's
been.
been a different story. But you know what? Here's the thing, too. And what I want people to understand, because, there's a different, for me, I have relatives and I have family. They're
Yes,
totally different,
I
right?
love that.
I
I love
do.
that.
You know,
Say that one more time.
there's relatives and there's family. For me, relatives, we just share DNA. That's all we share, DNA.
Come on.
Family, you have my heart. We have this place where we can congregate. You have my space where we talk and live. Because for me, what I've learned to do, someone posted something on social media, I divorced half my family. My response to them, they're like, sometimes you have to get rid of. See, here's the thing. Here's an issue that we have, I think, in this space. You and I are friends. You treat me bad. I tell you about it, tell you about it, tell you about it. My cup is dry. I keep filling up your cup. I don't even have an overflow. And I'm going to get rid of you because we're not related. So I don't have to put up with the foolishness.
And see, I love.
Yeah, but because we're family, I'm supposed to put up with the BS.
Right.
Jackie Charles, I don't care if it's mother, father, sister.
And
When I
so
if I have 200 family members, I cut off 198. Okay?
I completely understand. And so let's so you have to learn. And I want to provide the audience with the understanding that you have to learn how to get to that level of maturity and maturation, because we have been trained to enable people to abuse us. When we don't call out things and we ignore things and we override things and we dismiss it, sometimes in the name of Jesus. Yeah,
Wait
because
a
see,
minute, repeat that again.
we dismiss, we put off, we don't address, we ignore in the name of Jesus, when in fact the Spirit, Holy Spirit, empowers us. The Bible says, he says this: if I don't go back, the Spirit of truth will not come. And the Spirit of truth the Comforter will not come, and he will lead and guide you into what? All truth. And sometimes truth is painful. Truth is inconvenient. Truth does not land where everything is wonderful and rosy. And we've got to stop enabling. And this is what I realized, Jacqueline. This is what I realized. For so many years in my life, I enabled and gave people tools to harm me.
Wait a minute, let's drop the mic. Where my mic at? Let me drop the mic. That was a woo! If you ain't never said a word, right there's the word. Yep.
I
Mhm.
I said I gave them permission.
Yep.
I gave them permission to treat me second-handedly, to disrespect me, to not honor my person, honor my body. I mean, a lot of women do this,
Mhm.
especially those who have been sexually abused. And this is what I was trained. I was groomed, because that's the whole processes of abuse. I groom you. And what people no, I've been dating him for a year. We've been friends. The grooming process is strategic. The predator learns your personality traits, learns your secrets, learns things that you do not divulge to the average Joe. And then they get you where they want you to be, and they begin to manipulate you. And so here recently, I had something that happened to me, and it triggered me. And it caused me to recognize this is a spirit of manipulation.
Mm.
This is a spirit of manipulation that's being facilitated through the name of Jesus, through the name of friendship, and I was like, oh, pump brakes. And so let me just also tell the audience, you're going to have some tearful nights when you begin to unload those relationships that are not beneficial to you. And see, these people know that they're harming you. You just don't know that they're harming you. And when the revelation, when the unveiling happens, you're flabbergasted, but they're not. What they are is angry now that you have identified them as a predator, as a manipulator, because they've spent most of their lives manipulating other people. And so now you won't join the bandwagon of enabling them to harm you. Now they're pissed off with you. Honey, get pissed off, because you will never again abuse me. If you take advantage of me, certainly I will not have known about it.
See, this is why I say I'd rather be pissed off than pissed on, right?
Yes.
Because and that's where, because I got to a point where I'm like, I love my grandfather because he raised me, and he's given me this confidence. And I have no qualms. And it's not conceit, it's confidence. Because when men raise girls, it's totally different than when a woman raises a girl, right? So a young lady. So for me, I've come to the conclusion, I'm going to say, I am the damn table. I'm not, when people say bring stuff to the table, I'm the table.
Baby,
So
you don't have nothing without me.
Thank you. So if you want to put some stuff on, if you can't look, I'm okay with if you want to bring dessert, appetizers, paper plates, or whatever to help build the table, because you can't just have the table. You have to have something on the table, right? So if you're able to bring stuff to my table, we're good. But you're not going to keep eating from my table. That's like, I can't keep helping you, because spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, I'm going to be bankrupt. And then that check going to bounce, that emotional check, that financial check, that spiritual check going to be bouncing. So I'm no longer giving from a spirit of just giving. It has to be some overflow, because people like us, and I'm going to speak for you, we tend to give the shirt off our backs, right? Because we want to help people. And I've noticed when you've gone through something like that, and when you've come to, okay, I don't want anyone going through what I went through, you help other people to your own detriment. And for me, when I tell you, people are just, even my family are like, Jackie, don't play. No, because I'm calling you out. And then you have people in the family who enable those people, or when you want to bring something up, oh, I can't talk right now. They're on the phone with you 30 minutes and they want to talk for another hour. But the minute you bring up something from the past or whatever, oh, no, I don't want to talk, and hang up the phone. I'm like, I'm cool, because when I tell you, when I am loaded and I upchucked all of that because I suppressed it, I had all these things, and speaking to a great therapist, I realized I'm free. You don't have to talk to me. I'm good, because at the end of the day, it is what it is, because I already have my family, so
Right.
we're good.
So I would like to speak to three things you just said.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And that is, I'll start with the latter, and that is family. I realized that my relatives, those of us that share DNA, because of the trauma that we all went through, that it was very difficult to remain in relationship. And so our relationships are strained and estranged. My stepfather and my mother died during the COVID pandemic. So, I love, and then speaking to from relatives to family, God is so faithful that he has surrounded me with family, people who we don't have the same DNA, but we have the same DNA.
Preach it, baby.
Yeah, so,
No, you do have the DNA. You have now the new adopted spiritual DNA that
that's
God
what I'm
gave.
talking about. We have the blood of Christ DNA
Right? Yes.
that love me as a person, that honor me, and I can honor them, because let me tell you what I realized is that because of the trauma, because of the atrocities that happened, it was difficult to find honor in each other, because they refused to find healing with me. I begged and begged and begged. First of all, let's confront them. Can't do that. They're not strong enough to handle us confronting them. But right. Okay, yeah, right. Let's go to counseling. Can't do that. I don't want to go to counseling. So guess what? I said, God bless you. So long. Bye-bye. What I'm saying? And then the other part of that is real healthy relationship
Yes.
is about accountability and reciprocity. Let me say that one more time. Accountability and reciprocity. You have to be able in healthy relationship to say what you're doing hurts me. What you're saying is making me uncomfortable. I should be able to say no, I don't like that in healthy relationship. Speaking about the overflow that you just finished talking about, reciprocity. If one is always giving and another is always taking, that is not reciprocity. That is not exchange. But let me give some more clarity in that. Sometimes you may give 100 and then sometimes they may give 100. But what is there is consistency. There is a consistent flow. There's a reliability. There's awareness that I can count on this person. They are not here for show. They're here for life. They are life partners that partner with you throughout life's journey. And so, yes, I live a very isolated life for the most part. And what do I mean by that? I honor and treasure my relationships. I don't feel like my voice needs to be a part of every conversation. I want to make sure my voice is a part of healthy, life-giving, upgrading, progressive conversations and dialogues. I want to be on platforms that I know that I am advocating in the right way and I'm giving glory unto God. So no, I'm like you, Jacqueline. I don't play. And because there is no room for play or the gray area for me, people who have that mindset and who are used to living that way, it's okay that we're not close. I'm not mad at you, boo. You do what you do and I do what I do, but I am going to walk in the I am and all that the I am and do what I have to do to live a healthy, prosperous, a life of abundance. And I believe that's the will of God for me.
See, and you have to show people how to treat you. And here's
Yes.
the thing, what I've learned. I have this thing where, because I have that personality that people gravitate to, right? But I'm also an empath. So I have to be very careful of
Yes.
energies around me. And I have no
Yes.
problem saying bye. So here's the thing that I do now, because I want to make sure there's clarity. I love that. I want to make sure there's clarity. What I do is if I see someone is mistreating, manipulating, taking advantage of me, but they trying to be slick about it. But because me before, I'm like in your face right away. Not anymore. Because God had a conversation with me and sat me down. So now what I do is I have conversation with people just to let them know, respectful conversation. Before it wasn't respectful because it was triggering. So what I would do is I have respectful conversations with people around November, September, letting them know, hey, like especially if I feel it's being a strange or a tug and pull kind of relationship and friendships, I'm like, hey, let's have a conversation. I think we need to, because I over communicate. Let's have a conversation because I think there's something not right here. What can we do to fix it? Not me. What can we do to fix it? Oh, okay, Jackie. November comes around, they still acting kind of funny and they still doing what they doing. December 31st, you get a termination friendship letter. Thank you and bye-bye. Because we already had the conversation and I'm one of those girls, I have no problem block and deleting. That's
Oh,
mine's like you block and delete so many. I have no, but see, when I blocked before, I would just block you and delete you. You don't know what's going on. I've come to realize, Jackie, you're not perfect. You have to let people know how you feel because you can't just block and delete and maybe they didn't know. Give them a chance to fix it. And I don't care if someone's out there saying, well, who the heck you think you are? Look, I'm a quarter. I'm not a dime piece. I'm a quarter because I am loyal. I'm good as a friend. You know what I'm saying? I'll do what I need to do, but I have conversation first. And I don't want to subscribe to the Black women don't get along, but I don't want to subscribe to that because my energy is not looking for that. So I get what I put in some of the times, but me, block and delete is my middle name. We have a conversation. You ain't doing it right. I have no problem blocking and deleting you.
well, the
None
thing
of the
about
time.
it is you have to ask the question in every relationship and every dynamic, is this adding value? Is it adding value for us to be in relationship? Every one of us are not of the same tribe. Look, there were 12 tribes of Israel, and those tribes had tribes. And so it's okay that I'm not a part of your tribe. But what I'm not going to do is be in a dynamic that does not add value. I'm looking to add value to you, and I'm in a healthy relationship. You should be adding value to me as well. And so it's okay. Some people should not, like I said earlier, my voice is not suitable for every conversation. So you gotta know what your voice is suitable
Yes.
for. My presence.
Yes.
I'm a thick woman, and I like thick men. So a skinny brother ain't going. We probably won't work. I like them thick, brown, and necessary. Okay, and so I need you. I like them tall. You know what I mean? I'm not no over. I'm not obese, but I know I'm aware of myself. Is what I'm saying. And so when you take the time to sit with you, then you know how to facilitate your value. When you take the time to sit and audit your surroundings, then you know when to insert and assert yourselves into that situation. And I think like we waste a lot of time um trying to prove ourselves, because
Oh.
we waste so much time.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. Because I firmly believe what's on the inside is going to draw to me the value, the wealth, the open door, the loving relationship, all of that to me, because that's what's on the inside
Exactly.
of me. Stop asking and requiring people to provide for you what you don't even provide for yourself.
And here's the thing too, for me, when I go into a room, I own the room when I walk into it. I don't care if I don't know anybody, I'm walking in there because I belong in that room. I
Yes.
am not going to make your issues my issues because I already know who I am.
See, the thing
I'm
about
God's
it is
people.
when to know that every fight is not your fight.
Exactly. And here's the thing too. I tell people I am not everyone's cup of coffee, right? I don't drink coffee. I'm a tea lover.
Me
Okay.
too. I'm a
So
teacher.
see, so just because you don't like coffee, I'm okay with you not liking it. And because you like coffee, I'm okay with you. And it's not even like there's a season for every relationship.
It is.
And maybe it's just a season for us walking. Maybe it's just,
And
just a
that's
season
the
for us,
thing, but
and that's okay.
this, this is the thing. We oh my gosh. We kind of like real health, real healthy people are very intentional people,
Yes.
very deep
Yes.
people. We assess. When I go into a new space, I already know that I'm a magnet. I already know that I'm a light. I'm not trying to go. So I sit down and I'm assessing my environment. First thing I'm looking at is all the exits. I need to wear, if we need to get out of this joint, I I know exactly where the exits are. So that's number one.
Yes.
Then I'm looking and I'm asking Holy Spirit, who am I supposed to connect with? Who in this room am I supposed to be in relationship with? Because I came into the room to add value, but also there are others that are in the room that add value. And
Mhm.
so am I supposed to be in relationship with them? And I don't think we have been taught, especially as Black people, and I hate to use that term, but it is what it
But
is.
it's true.
Black people, African American descendants, diaspora, to look at each other as valuable. That's why you can abuse one another. Please don't tell me that you're a man in community, you're a woman in community, and you can treat your fellow man like crap. You can disrespect. You can take monies and not pay them back. You can lie to them. You can commit adultery with your best friend's wife, and you feel like, oh, but it's me and my kids always joke, Jacqueline. You know how you watch those Italian movies, my family. You know you touching my family. You know I got to kill you, but you just killed 20 people in somebody else's family, and you mad that Uncle Smith is getting ready to die. How can you be mad that D'Angelo has to die now when you just killed 20 other people's family? I don't understand the mindset of women who hate other women.
Woo!
I do not understand
Oh,
that.
no,
I
no, wait,
do
you
not.
know what? Let me jump in there because y'all know me, y'all. Okay. Y'all know I be putting my business out there. I used to be one of those women who didn't like women, and let me explain. Because I was abused by women, right? Made sure my career was male dominated. I made sure, so wherever I worked, it was going to be male dominated. And then God had to speak to me and tell me, Jackie, you have to forgive women. It's not all women. And when I tell you, all my healthcare providers were men. And when I got that epiphany, I fired them. God gave me the name Women Are Worthy, the Women Are Worthy Network. I'm like, look, because I saw how the women would be, the young girls would be around my brothers, catty and this and that. And that's one of the things my husband said he loved about me, because he didn't find me catty because I was more in a male dominated space. That's why I speak the way I speak. I speak without, off the cuff. And usually now I'm learning women language, because you can tell a guy, oh, screw you, and it's okay. With the woman, why you got to say it like that? Your tone, you're this, you're that, and they read too much into it. But I'm learning how to speak women language,
So
right?
what I'm saying is that you are reinventing and
Yes,
reimagining your femininity, the
yes,
prowess with other
yes,
women. And
yes,
so I'd like to say that all men are not bad. I love
right.
men. Yes,
Mhm.
a man abused me. Yes, I've had abusive relationships by men. I was married to a pastor who was extremely abusive, and that's a whole nother
You
story.
want to come back because we're
Over
going to talk about church hurt. You want to
yeah,
come back.
75% of women who are married to leadership, they're
Yes.
married to abusive men and
Mhm.
in Christianity. So that's a whole nother topic. But what I realized is that I had to separate my experience and not put that onus on all black men or all men. I love men, and some women get very angry at me for saying that. I need a man. I don't need no man. Well, that's you, boo. I need a man. I need a man. I need a loving, kind, intelligent, handsome, godly, progressive, intelligent, socially astute man. Yes, I do. I love men. I think that men are worthy of love, honor, and respect. And I just know that there are good men out there. I've raised good men. I have 3 adult children. I have a son that's 37, 34, and a daughter that's 29. And
Girl,
one
when did you start at 14? Because you don't look like you can have any kids at that age. Okay, stop. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
God has been good.
That's black don't crack right
That's
there.
black don't crack, and that's the grace of God.
God.
That's
Mhm,
the grace of God. And I'm thankful for that because I'm a very youthful,
mhm.
vibrant person. I grew up in New York. That's how we flow. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it. And so I can reach back and think about the loving relationships that I've had with men. I just wasn't prepared because of my own brokenness. And I think you have to be honest with yourself and say, no, God, you didn't skip over me with the blessing. I just wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. Now I'm ready. Now I'm prepared. I'm sitting on ready. I'm ready to go to the nations. I'm ready to be in loving, healthy relationship with one man. And put it on that one man and honor that one man and build with that one man. And I'm thankful for that self actualization appeared. It came about, but it's because I wanted it.
See,
God,
and I want to interject for a minute, and I want women to hear this, because here's the thing. For me, this year we'll be married 35 years next week, as a matter of fact, right?
wow.
And I want people to, and people look at me like a unicorn. And I want people to understand I've never, and here again, I've never had a bad guy. I've never, maybe I was the bad person, but I've never had, I was like the dude. I never had a bad relationship with men. So I want women to know it's almost like you're driving in a tunnel, and the tunnel is dark, but like almost a Holland tunnel. It's a long tunnel.
Yes,
And you're
that
like, when
Holland.
am I going to see the light? When am I going to see the light? You got to be patient. You got to be in prayer, and you got to be persistent. It will happen. So don't get stuck or those out there waiting for a mate. right? Continue living your life. Keep doing what you need to do. He will come. Of course, I'm not saying he's going to ring your doorbell in a horse with a horse and like, hello, you got to get out there as well.
Right. You know,
Right?
I love what you're saying, because last night I decided, because publicly I'm very animated and, you know, I'm vivid, I'm out there, but I can sit in the house quiet as a mouse. Okay. But last night I went to a nice restaurant. I sat near the bar, ordered my food, because I said, you know what? These people deserve my brilliance. They deserve my presence. Let me go on and put some of that anointed beloved on them. And I sat there, and it was a wonderful experience. I just believe in loving, healthy relationship.
Mhm.
I believe that you do not have to continue to live in abusive cycles. But like you said, you know, I love you talking about Holland Tunnel. When you go over that George Washington Bridge and you go through that Holland Tunnel and you end up downtown and you start to smell the excitement. I'm smelling the excitement of this actualized woman, of this beauty of this woman, the genius that was always there, and living that out by doing the work by the grace of God to get to this point. And so yes, that's what I'm doing. I have a book, another book entitled Love, Marriage, and Faith for Sex, for couples who dare intimacy. So I facilitate couples retreats. We're having one November the 3rd and 4th here in Augusta, Georgia. Right now, we have about 25, 30 couples already signed up. And so you can go to Kingdom Love Locket on Facebook. That's Kingdom Love Locket, and register. So I'm all about promoting love and relationship.
And that's what we need to do because, and for me, you know, I like that we're in the same space because I am going to say is I got sick and tired of the Kevin Samuels, the Steve Harveys, all these people talk. It's great to talk about relationship. It's good, great. But when you have men, not the Steve Harvey, talking down to women, calling them cows, calling them names like the Kevin Samuels, then you have the Derek Jacksons living a double life. Then you have Steve Harvey talking out the two sides of his face, right? Because you wrote a book, your daughter ain't living it, you ain't living it, but you telling people they got to wait 90 days, they got to do this, they got to do that, they got to do this. I am not talking about the celibacy part, but when you marry 4 or 5 times, you can't teach me itch. So my husband's like, Jackie, go out there, start getting your stuff together and start coaching. Get all the things that you need to do because, wait a minute, you don't even look your age, number one. And I'm like, okay, what you want, brother? You know, you don't look your age. You've been married a long time. I'm sick of hearing on the women on the job about all the stuff that they go through. So I want you to go out there, start coaching, create a space where you can talk to women. Nothing against women who are not married, divorced, no. But we need more people who are married, who are out there, because there's a space for everyone. I ain't trying to listen to Yana Van Zant. You can't tell me nothing about relationship. Nothing, right? I can hear what you did and it didn't work. But so many women out here are looking for relationships, but they're tending to spend the money with the men. And when I talk to them, they're like, Jackie, because we don't have women like you out there. So we're listening, we're grabbing at straws in these men who have been married, but you need to come out there. You need to start doing more. So I'm now starting to, because I'm like you, I'm an introvert extrovert. No, the place I love to spend most of my time other than vacation is the library, because the library, you can't talk. Right. So I love that safe space. So, you know, I can, you know, put on the lights, camera, but I'm really a wallflower. And a lot of people, if you really know me, you know I'm like that. I'm really shy, but that, you know, that Sasha Fierce thing comes out, right? So I realized, especially living in Georgia, there's so many women who are single, so many women who are divorced, so many women who are looking for that person. You also have to fix yourself, or because so many women have the confidence, but they're scared. It's like they're dumbing it down for the guy.
Exactly. You
So,
have to be the person that you're desiring. And
exactly.
so what I realized is that maybe my previous pool of men don't add up to what I am now.
Right.
Maybe in my before self they did, but who I am now, and I'm not gonna settle. I'm not gonna chase. I can't do any of those. I don't have time for all of that. I have a schedule that I'm on in terms of, you know, doing what I'm doing and book touring and whatever I'm doing, spiritual coaching. and just living my life.
Mhm.
And God says the man that find a wife. Now that doesn't mean you can't position yourself to be found. You
Right.
you get, be out there, be beautiful, smell good, look lovely, be kind. But I just believe that when God heals us or takes us through something to get to the other side, it's indeed for a divine purpose. And that's how that's how I live my life.
And see, I wanted people to get, mind, body, and spirit, because I teach plant-based, because, to get your mind right, because you can look good on the outside and inside you're rotten, right? Or vice versa. You don't look well presented, because, TD Jakes used to have this thing, get ready, get ready. I don't believe in get ready. I believe be ready.
Be
Because when
ready.
you're ready, you never got to get ready,
And so
right?
that's where I'm at. I live my life ready. Literally, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. I take my passport with me everywhere I go and a check, because I don't know when God is going to say, okay, I got to be ready. I take my products with me everywhere I go, because I don't know when this person's going. Can you be on my show, Jacqueline? Right? Can you be, like you said, can you be on my show? Are you ready? I'm ready. I practice. My dad used to always say, practice speaking correct English.
Yes.
Practice looking good. So my dad would say, if you're having, this is my natural dad now, he would say, on your worst days, look your best, and the enemy will
Yes.
never see you sweat. He'll
Yes.
never know what you're thinking.
Because you notice, I don't know, wow, this is getting to be a long show, but it's well worth it. What people need to, and if you think about this, really be honest with yourself. When you go out half not looking right, that's when you see people you haven't seen in a while, or someone wants to, or you see that gorgeous guy, or he's looking at you. And
Okay, stop. You got to pump your brakes. So let me tell you what happened.
Am I speaking the truth or what? Am I speaking the truth or what? Go ahead.
You speaking the truth, boo.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to jump in right there.
Go ahead.
I was in this particular Walmart in this particular area, and I'm coming down the aisle. I'm going over to the customer service area. You know how the customer service is situated in the Walmart. And this man, handsome man, turns around and he just starts staring at me. And he's staring at me all the way until I get in line behind him. And he says to me, "Ooh, I ain't never seen a woman that looked like you in this Walmart." He said, "Are you from here?" I said, "Well, no, I'm not really." He said, "You couldn't be." He said, "Because I've been in this Walmart before, and I have not seen a woman that looks like you in this Walmart." Now, let me speak to my sisters and tell them something. What he was saying was, you don't have on a bonnet. You ain't got no bonnet on your head, because I hate the bonnets. I want to set them all on fire. You don't have on a bonnet. You don't have a rag on your head. You have on a bra. You don't have on but pajamas and bedroom slippers. You're not walking around with coal in your eye, right? Face matted. You don't smell like bed sheets. Come on, let's be clear here, right? And you look good. You smell good. You speak correct English. And so on one hand, it was a compliment, but as a part of a gender of women, it hurt me. It did something to me that this man and all of us coming to this particular Walmart off of Deansbridge Road, that he hadn't seen a good looking woman, a woman that was well kept. I mean, it bothered me. And so these sisters that speak from the school of thought that I'm just being myself, I'm just being me, you gonna set me like I am, baby, be you someplace else. Out in public, that ain't the place to be you. I told my daughter.
Let me interject, because here's the thing. And I tell people, I remember growing up in New York, even if you go into the corner store, because we're very competitive in New York, we're dressing, we're wearing our furs, even on the train station with our sneakers, because we got to walk. I remember them days working in the city and putting on my fur coat, my mink, and putting on my sneakers and getting on the train, getting off at Park Avenue South and working. And you just going to the corner store in I remember growing up.
You gonna look good.
On your lipstick, you looking good.
You gonna look good. I don't care. When I came from New York to undergrad, I would change my clothes 4 times a day in college. They was like, who is this chick? I'm like, that's how we do. We are going to look good. We're going to show up whatever we have, whatever that level is, like we got it going on. And I don't understand that mindset of, no, I don't need to wash my face, and no, I don't need to put on lip gloss, and no, I don't need to be perfumed, and no, I don't need. I'm like, how? First of all, you're a woman.
Look, we're gonna have to shut this down because we're gonna have to do a part 2 because this was really good. We want to thank Beloved Dillard, Dr. Dillard, for being on the show. We're here talking about, empowerment, loving ourselves, owning our space, self-motivating ourselves as well. We want to thank everyone for tuning in, and tune in because I have another show coming on, so tune into that. Don't forget to, my team gonna get me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're watching,
yes, I'm Beloved Dillard on all platforms.
Please subscribe. Please comment. Go to the website. Our website is Jacqueline, JACQLYN Charles.com. Please, subscribe to that as well. I'm also a plant-based educator. I'm also I'm also a coach, a relationship coach. So those are the things that I do. I want women to love themselves. So we empower, we teach people how to eat properly, healthy for the body, and just enjoy life. Be the best that you can be, because after what we went through 2019, you ain't got to imitate nobody. Just be yourself. So without further ado, we want to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been amazing. You've been amazing. So we want to thank everyone again for tuning in.